Have you ever read a threat report and thought, these tools could definitely be superhero names? I mean, come on. BlueBeam, AntSword, DustPan, Beacon, Dust Trap, PineGrove, SQLDR2. Okay, that last one was a bit of a stretch. Anyway, those are tools that APT41 has been using in the recent campaigns. Let's talk about detections. Google's Mandiant released a report about APT41 in a recent campaign they've been observing. So this was in collaboration with the Google Threat Analysis Group, TAG, and they observed the APT41 targeting several different industries like the global shipping and logistics, media and entertainment, technology, and automotive. Mostly focusing around Italy, Spain, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, and the United Kingdom. But I mean, APT41 has targeted a lot of other places than just specifically this campaign. So like I mentioned in the beginning, I listed all the tools being used. And if we go down here, we can actually see an interesting diagram of the attack path here. So it shows us that that web shell is getting dropped, BlueBeam or AntSword, and then it goes to DustPan, Beacon, and then they get their persistence and lateral movement to Dust Trap, and then they have the hands-on keyboard activity, and then they're dumping or grabbing that database to a text file, and then PineGrove to exfil to OneDrive. So what we did, if you go through this report, it gets a little bit more in detail on each individual tool. But what we ended up doing is we created a threat session, trying to recreate the steps from that report. So pretty much just mimicking the attacker. So we have a Windows domain and a Linux box, and we go through and we went through all those different tools, basically exactly how that report mentions it. So what I want to do today is go through and look at some of the detection opportunities, some detections that are in our platform. I'm not going to hit on everything because this is a 6-minute, almost 7-minute attack threat session here, so can't watch the whole thing. But I want to go through some of the detections we have or were triggered in our platform by this threat session, and I'll make sure to provide links and everything in the description, so you can always come and play with this yourself. But I want to go through some of these detections and see how they kind of tie back to this attack process that is being seen from APT41. So the first detection we're looking at here is looking for AntSword web shell requests. Specifically, it's going to be digging into Zeek logs, looking for URIs containing any of these endings like JSP, JSPX, PHP, etc. URIs containing !ant equals and post bodies starting with ant equals. So you can see down here the log that it picked up from the threat session, validating that it is detecting the activity. The next detection we want to look at here is suspicious child processes of Atlassian Confluence. And this is looking specifically for any parent images containing Atlassian, Confluence, or Tomcat with a process name of command.exe or PowerShell.exe. So if we look at the log from the threat session, we can see that Tomcat 9.exe had a process name of command.exe. And if we look at the command line, this is definitely suspicious, right? You can see it doing multiple things, but specifically it's pulling down beacon.exe and renaming it to w3wp.exe, which obviously that's suspicious. The next detection we're going to cover here is legitimate application dropped executable. And if we look through at the log from the session, we'll see that certutil dropping w3wp.exe. And this is actually finding the aftermath of the previous log we looked at. So if we go back to that previous log, we saw this command, and it was using certutil to pull down beacon and rename it to w3wp.exe or save it as w3wp.exe. And so this is detecting that certutil creating the file. And for this next detection, we have suspicious Confluence file creation. This is detecting similar to what the last two were detecting, but it's using a bit of a different method. For this, it's looking at the specific path or the partial path of Atlassian / Confluence and any target file names of .cmd, .bat, .exe, .dll, .ps1, and it's specifically looking for file events. So it's looking for file creation here. It's saying if anything's created in a path that contains Atlassian / Confluence and it includes any of these endings in the target file name, trigger an alert. So in this case, it detected that w3 wp.exe being created in there by CertUtil. Now we're getting into some Cobalt Strike traffic. So this is possible Cobalt Strike traffic, and this is going to be utilizing Zeek logs, and it's looking for some specific things known about Cobalt Strike that you can look for like in the URI. And if you look at it, you can see one of them is URI containing /FW link, and so this picked up on that, and this could be an indicator of Cobalt Strike network traffic. Next, we got new service creation, and this one is just looking for a service being created using sc.exe, specifically with a command line containing creator bin path, and for PowerShell wants to see new service or binary path name. The log from the threat session we have here shows a service being created, showing it's trying to name it Windows Defend, and it's pointing to con.exe in that Atlassian Confluence. Con.exe, the w3 wp.exe are two of the names that the attackers use in the report. All right, now we have SQLDR2 Hack tool. So this is a pretty basic detection, just looking for the command line description original file name containing SQLULDR. So obviously this is going to be an easy one to evade, but if that's just being used as the default name, it will be picked up. And you can see here the command line of that being executed. The last one we're going to be looking at here is PineGrove process patterns, and PineGrove is the malware used to exfil the data that they steal to OneDrive. So if we look at the detection, it's just looking for command line containing -c wildcard.json and -s. So in the log from the session, we can see that there's this program data 1.exe, and it has auth.json and a -s outputting to a CSV file. So this is a good one to just detect some of that suspicious activity, potential false positives here, but it is a good one to keep an eye on. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And if you have any suggestions, please comment and let us know what we could do better, if there's any other topics you'd like us to cover. But as always, I really appreciate you coming and watching the video, and hope you have a good rest of the day.